Going live in 3, 2, 1. All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We have a lot of the events that have just happened in the last 24 hours. If you just came from the video earlier this afternoon, we, of course, talked about a massive, massive event. Essentially, hedge fund institutions, investors, and countries just went out and bought a ton. And we're talking about not even record-breaking amounts of gold, platinum, and silver. We're talking about like, oh crap, war is about to pop off amounts of gold, platinum, and silver. So keep that in mind with everything that's going on. And then roll right into this. The same time that everyone across the board, all of my peers and independent media and mainstream, everybody is in agreement. It looks like we are about to have a war pop off. Not just one, but it looks like all. Now we have China holds huge military drills from multiple directions around Taiwan. Now, as far as Taiwan goes, they've done the surrounding drill several times where they, at one point, one of the biggest had at least 6 massive deployments all around, basically 3 on the top and, 3 layered around the bottom. And it was pretty freaky for the Taiwan folks. They were looking out in the water and they could literally see Chinese ships off of their coast. Well, many of these kind of drills have now been done, and any one of these drills could turn into the real deal. In fact, we pretty much know this because of how China is doing this. They keep going over the median line. They keep going a little bit further. They keep putting planes over, planes over, planes over. They're basically trying to test what the response will be when they actually do this. Well, now this is lined up with everything else. We had a full news video. It was actually 30 minutes long, but I do hope you guys share that out because that video had a lot of why this is extremely important. So again, China on Tuesday launched major combined forces exercises around Taiwan as a stern warning in the wake of U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's pledge to counter China's aggression on his first visit to Asia, as well as alleged recent separatist statements by Taiwan President La Ching-te. The People's Liberation Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force are involved in the drills, which seek to, quote, close in on the self-ruled island from multiple directions and practice maneuvers, including assault on maritime and ground targets. Now, most people look at this and go, oh, it's just a drill. Well, in history, we have known that these drills have turned into the real deal. In fact, I believe that China, when they actually do take over Taiwan, it will start out as a drill because a drill is not going to cause much alarm. Many civilians, especially in Taiwan, won't be as alarmed as if they get an alarm saying China is on their way. I don't think China's ever going to give them a heads up and go, hey, by the way, guys, we're loading up the buses. We're going to be over there to take you over. So, again, this drill could very well turn into something else. Does this and the potential for a takeover, does this explain the massive buy of gold, platinum? Did they get a heads up? Did somebody in China say, hey, by the way, guys, we're heading over to Taiwan? Is that why there was this massive, massive buy? We'll talk about that and much, much more. You do not want to go anywhere else. The show is getting pretty serious. If you don't like scary movies, don't watch scary movies. If you don't like scary news, don't watch scary news. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, and I do want to point out there's actually, apart from Taiwan officials, just so you think, don't think that we're, the only ones that have this opinion. Again, it says Taiwan officials have blasted the drills as reckless and irresponsible. Taiwan's military subsequently elevated its readiness level to ensure China does not, quote, turn drills into combat and launch a sudden attack on us. So, I mean, hey, what's funny is, we've been talking about this since the whole beginning of the Taiwan scenario, since the beginnings of when they were actually putting it public that they will take them. We've been on air since before that. When not many have said what we have said since day one, that this was practice to take them over. Now it's accepted fact that they're planning on taking them over. But in the very beginning, some even called it conspiracy, right? But yeah, it's not. And it's going to change the world. It is a huge, huge deal to take Taiwan with the chip manufacturing. But other than that, having that island will also be extremely strategic for that part of the water. That is why Japan's getting involved. They don't want China to have control of Taiwan or the Taiwan Strait. And that's why Japan is pushing it on them. Let's go further down the hole, and let's bring in my co/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugel fam. I'm doing just fine.
So, again, it's funny. The next story was Japan, U.S. agree to urgently boost deterrence. There are so many stories right now, Dex, that say one piece of the puzzle. I mean, this is not a hard puzzle to put together. It's like a third grade puzzle.
Yeah, the Asian stuff with Japan, Taiwan, China. I mean, just the fact that Hegseth was there saying that they were building an indispensable partner and making a war fighting headquarters there just yesterday, as we reported. I mean, obviously there's a huge investment going on. But with moving over to the other side of the world, so to speak, well, get this. I mean, this is kind of crazy. Sweden preparing nuclear bunkers. So they've begun readying its network of nuclear bunkers to shelter up to 7 million citizens, they announced. The country maintains approximately 64,000 shelters that were originally constructed during the Cold War. They're capable of housing more than 2/3 of its entire population. That's a significant number. It's not 100%, but it's still a significant number. They're going to invest $7.2 million to refurbish the facilities, and they're going to be upgrading air ventilation systems to protect against nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. They've got additional measures, including stockpiling medical supplies and reinforcing some of the bunker structures to ensure that they will still be functional throughout the crisis. So the Civil Defense Minister, Karl Oksar Bohlen, emphasized the urgency, stating that the security situation around Sweden has deteriorated rapidly, and we must prepare for the worst case scenario. So right now, the inspections and upgrades are actually underway. They're actually doing work as we speak. It's not just words, it's action. The shelters ranging from small units to large public facilities.
Now, did we get the $1.6 billion investment into Ukraine from Sweden in here? Do you know about that yet? If not, can we pull that?
I'll go look for it.
Okay, so there's also a story that I saw. I guess I forgot to send it. That they are going to send $1.6 billion to Ukraine in support. They are also manufacturing planes and different, at least 4 different air transports and everything else. The military-industrial complex has just buzzed up. And you think it's a coincidence that all of the Wall Street moguls and all of these rich folks and all of the countries out there just bought tons, 580 tons of gold, most of that in one day. There was 45,000 contracts on March 28th alone. This isn't just the last couple days. These are numbers that make you go, holy, something is going down. Wall Street always gets a heads up. These guys, Wall Street is also connected to all of these politicians. Look at the insider trading accusations against half of the politicians. These people are in charge of the decisions. And they are in positions where they have actual intelligence, the stuff that never actually gets put out to the civilians. But it might get put out to Todd or Steve at a tennis match when they're talking about their IRAs or their, I don't know, something way fancier than that. But you get my point. These guys get a heads up. It reminds me of Leave the World Behind, when he's like, well, it would be crazy. What if there isn't a shadowy group running things, and the best thing that you might be able to ask for, or you could get if you're really up there, is just a heads up. Did these folks just get a heads up? Before every major crisis in the country, you have seen the Wall Street folks move money right before, and that is exactly what is happening. So buckle up, as my good friend Jacob would say, because it is about to get wild. Sweden, again, doing these nuclear bunkers and getting their military-industrial complex is very, not Sweden on point for them. So let me see here. Was that verified, or is that? I don't want to say if it wasn't correct, or if we can.
Oh no, it's 1.6 billion. I've got a link. I'm trying to get it formatted for you. But yeah, they just sent 1.6 billion in air defense support. So significant investment on Sweden's part. That's the gist of it.
For Ukraine. And I mean, match this up with just yesterday or the day before. We covered that, of course, our president, of course, has made comments, but Pete Hegseth actually said, hey, you guys are going to have to deal with your Europe stuff. You're going to have to deal with Russia, because we're actually going to focus on us, and we're going to focus on China. I keep going back to every study, every simulation shows that the only way that the U.S. would lose is if we were in a peer-to-peer war. So that means, peer-to-peer adversaries, China and Russia. We cannot win, according to many of the simulations, many of the war games, if we are fighting both. So are they saying, hey, Europe, you guys got to just put everything together. You guys got to spend more. You got to do this, and you got to defend yourselves, because we're busy with China. We're going to be busy with China, Taiwan, Japan, and the Trilateral Alliance. I mean, it really is starting to come together why they even did the Trilateral Alliance in the first place. NATO will be over here. Trilateral Alliance will be over here. Probably Australia. All these guys will be pumping in. Draft is getting put in many of these countries over in Europe. And of course, there's, draft or conscription rules getting put in. They're putting up trenches, putting up everything. This thing is going absolutely nuts. So, thank you, Dex. So yeah, this is March 31st. So yesterday. So yeah, Sweden pledges 1.6 billion in Ukraine aid. I mean, look at that. And again, all of the articles, tweets, videos, pictures, documents are all available over on marfooglenews.com. So if you're ever like, oh, where is he getting this information? We have all of our sources available for you on every single show. All you have to do is look for today's thumbnail, and then, of course, you'll find a full list. Again, we are independent. We're just a couple of guys and a couple of great people down in the mods chat. Again, making the show. So if you guys do want to support us in any way, share our stuff out. That would be much appreciated. There's also affiliates there of affiliate products that we actually believe in. So go support those if you want, but mainly share our stuff out. That's the only way we can get out. All right. And then we have Germany. Let's talk about Germany, Dex.
Okay, so they launched its first permanent troop deployment since World War II. So they are sending soldiers, get this, to Lithuania as part of a NATO initiative. The deployment involves a brigade of 5,000 troops stationed on NATO's eastern flank. I recall them talking about this. I remember us reporting that they were planning to do something like this, and it was kind of a big deal because it would be the first time, but they've actually done it now. So the unit is expected to be fully operational over the coming years, but 5,000 are stationed now, I guess, or heading out now. The parliament approved the move, marking a significant shift in the country's military posture. Troops begin arriving in eastern Lithuania today and establish a presence aimed at strengthening regional security. Now they're going in on the very eastern side there. I think they were originally somewhere near Villanova. I think that's the name of the town. Villanovas, something like that. But they're right there up against the border. And so this is putting them right on the border, the conflict border, if it was to erupt between Russia and presumably Belarus, and then the rest of the Baltic states there. So big deal for Germany to move their first troops out of their country since World War II.
I mean, this is all going to buzz up. We're going to see more and more and more and more of this, and every person that told you when you say, "Oh, this is coming," they all, smirked at you or scoffed at you because you were saying this. This was so obvious to see from light years away. I mean, it's just crazy how obvious this was. I mean, we have seen this for years. We've been saying this. You can go back to our shows. You can go back and again, I always challenge anybody. If we said something that misled people, go back, call us out on it, and I will correct it. We make sure to do the work beforehand so we don't do that. We call out Ganda, but we also ask the questions. So this is like this is exactly what our community has been calling out for years, and now it's here. So you should definitely get prepared. Speaking of which, again, this is a giveaway that is only for the Fugel family. One of our most awesome affiliates, EMP Shield, is again doing a giveaway. They are actually giving away 5 EMP shields. If you're not familiar with these are devices that can easily be put in your car in less than 10 minutes. It will ground the signal of EMP or multiple EMP strikes in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device. Again, that will make it allow you to go home to your family to bug in or get out to bug out. If you work far from home, this is a really good thing to have on your car. Almost all new cars have an average of 160 chips in them. How many of those are going to be fried? I think 160. But again, we'll see. As far as this goes, it will also protect you against Carrington-level event from the sun. If you've been following the solar activity, that is even crazier. Of course, last week's Myanmar earthquake was a day after a massive, massive corona hole, a giant flare that luckily did not hit us directly. But they even say the heartbeat of the Earth is off. Like they've got some arrhythmia or something going on. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the solar cycles. If you want to protect yourself, go and get one of these. If you want to try to win one, go to marfooglenews.com/giveaway. Of course, this is just for our channel. The one grand prize winner will actually get $1,000 towards the griddown.com. So that means you can get accessories for solar. You can get a grid down bug out, one of the best solar generators on the market, and it's protected by an EMP shield right off the bat. So go and check it out, marfooglenews.com/giveaway. If you do want to buy one, though, you have, again, one of the largest sales. It is the largest sale ever. $20 extra on top of our 50, 60 on top of our 50 if you get 2. 3, you get 120 if you get 4. So if you team up with friends or a family member, you will get $200 off per device. And again, that will stack on top of our 50. So go check that out, marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF. We are completely independent. We don't have a multi-channel network selecting these. We've had most of them for years, and that is because we believe in them and we think they'll save lives. So go check them out. All right, let's move on. And Dex, let's talk about Finland plans to withdraw from landmines treaty. Everybody's doing this.
Yeah, so look, Europe is just abuzz with war and getting prepped for it. Finland's government declared on Tuesday its intention to withdraw from the Ottawa Convention. That's the global treaty that bans anti-personnel landmines, and they're also saying they're going to increase their defense spending by 3% of GDP. Of course, they're not doing it right away. It's going to take them until 2029, but at least they get the word out there that they're increasing it. But I think the main message here is about this landmine stuff. So we saw all the Baltic states do it because they're bordering up against Russia, whether it's Kaliningrad or up against Belarus, or in the far north there up against Russia mainland. But of course, Finland, just north of there, has one of the largest borders up against Russia. So for them to do this, it's a big deal. The Agriculture and Forestry Ministry, ESHE, addressed the planned use of landmines, saying Finland will use mines in a responsible way, but it's a deterrent that we need. So I would expect that they're going to, basically litter the border lines in specific areas that are probably most vulnerable to infiltration with landmines. Now, this was all this stuff was outlawed for the longest time, still is, the Ottawa Convention, because there's so much, harm that can come from civilians and other people that just wander around and walk into those areas and get, hurt from a landmine. So that's an extreme measure. You got to think of it that way. It's an extreme measure that they're taking. It's not just flippant response to, oh, we don't care about the law. They think it's so important that they're going to pull out of it because they need it.
Yeah, and in other news, in this press conference, he also said he was very angry he did not get his Red Ryder BB gun. All right, moving on. We're also going to be talking about the 2,300 troops from 12 NATO countries take part in annual military drill in the Black Sea. So again, everything, and by the way, this is not hard. Like everything is war related, and this isn't like we're not picking and choosing. Everything across the planet has been right up the alley of they're getting prepped for war. Very soon here, all of this is going to be a nothing burger. People are going to be very quiet. And so are we. Like, this is not, and I told you so. This is like, I hope not. We're not hoping that these wars go off. I mean, the consequences of these wars actually happening, which, again, we've seen coming for a very long time, it's going to be really bad. I have 4 kids. I'm not trying to have any of them drafted, including my 19-year-old. So this is a very scary scenario here. But it's very obvious that all of these drills, all of these actions, all of these moves, all of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes with Wall Street, it's very clear. And it's not even just Wall Street. We're talking about these purchases of the gold, platinum, and silver were so big that, you've got countries involved. And all in a 2-day period? What the hell? From December, I think gold was at 2,600. It is just going vertical. It's insane. But yeah, 1,600 Romanian troops are participating along 11 partner states: Albania, Bulgaria, Canada, France, Greece, Italy, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Spain, United States, and Turkey. The exercise was organized for the first time in 2015. Russia's scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 has made it increasingly relevant. So, again, we'll follow it. And if you want updates and if you want to know what is about to happen next, make sure to sign up for our email alerts over at marfooglenews.com and sign up for, of course, notifications so you know when we go live. All right. And then, by the way, thank you to Chad. I will pop over and say hello in just a second here. Let me make sure that this is right. All right. And looks like 2.2 thousand watching. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of you that are already here. Let me pop this out so I can see what's going on. Highway, last day is nice to see you. Matthias, Dakota Calvin, 19-year-old here, getting ready to join the military. Hey, Dakota Calvin. I'm glad we have some younger folks here, especially the younger people. I'm sure a lot of your friends are, a little bit lost. So that is awesome. Let's see here. Conquest Josh, nice to see you. Stephen McMahon, off to work. Love y'all. If we don't see you tomorrow, it's been great knowing you. Well, hopefully we'll see each other for a while. But if any of these wars go on, you won't have a Marfoogle TV or Marfoogle News to go to figure out what's going on. That's the thing. You really got to be, you got to figure out what's going on within the first 24 hours, which I don't think people are, because there won't be news, there won't be internet, and there probably won't be power. But how are you supposed to know if none of that is working if it is more than just your neighborhood? Heck, somebody could have ran into a pole, right? Yeah. So I think it's going to be a cluster. Thank you, and then thank you to everybody. Bobby Sue, the mods, drop an M in the chat for the mods right now. Louis Strongarm, hey, nice to see you. Long time, yeah. Louis, you've been here for a long, long time. Shirley Millward, and somebody had to give me an OH, so I've got to give him an IO. Russia says it cannot accept U.S. proposals on Ukraine in current form. Yeah, well, no surprise there. Dex, are you surprised that they're not going to deal with it?
We got sort of a foreshadowing of this when Trump said a couple days ago that he was going to be pissed if they, that was his words, exactly pissed, if they, do anything to prevent the agreements from moving forward. But the interesting thing here, so one, this is not coming from Putin. This is coming from Deputy Foreign Ministry. But because again, we still haven't heard from him publicly. At least I haven't found anything specific, and I don't think you have either, Adam.
We've all been looking.
Yet. We looked.
Our mods
we
have been
looking
looking too.
I mean, he's not in hiding, but he's also not obviously out in the forefront that we've seen. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but nonetheless, Russia has declared it cannot accept the current U.S. proposal to end the war with Ukraine, and this is coming from Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov stating it, and he said the plans fail to address the core concerns that they have. This was in an interview in a magazine. It was released today. It said that we take the models and the solutions proposed by Americans very seriously, but we can't accept it at all in its current form. So this basically says, they're not getting anywhere with these negotiations. So, they have been having the ongoing discussions. A lot of them have been going on in Saudi Arabia, and I guess over the phone too, for that matter. And we've heard our president, Trump, say that, it's supposed to be coming together soon, but we've also got Zelensky, on the other hand, firing off, saying he's not interested in a mineral deal anymore. He's not interested in, he thinks that Putin has broken the ceasefire truce that they had. So nothing has been heading in the direction of actually thinking that this is going to go end peacefully. And at the same time, we had Hegseth in a secret memo telling the military, we need to be prepped up for China, and we don't, basically don't care what happens in Europe. That's Europe's problem. They're going to have to deal with it. So that's almost given a green light to Putin to sort of stay in the game, because it's not going to be America playing that ball game. It's going to be Europe. And I'm sure he has a different position against them versus us.
And if you don't know why he is, mentioning Putin, that nobody's even seen him yet, we have been looking to see if there's any public appearances by him. It's a big long shot that anything happened to him, but one of the presidential motorcades that was a few blocks away from the FSB, supposedly parked in front of a civilian nightclub, it exploded. It was an Urus Sonat. They're $400,000 supercar, they're a super, super luxury car. The back end is essentially for 2 or 3 people, I think at most, maybe 5, but it's a very small limo. It's basically like an elongated regular car with a bar in the back. It's a fancy car. But the presidential and the prime, finance minister and defense minister and all these people, the ex-president, rolls around in these things. They have a bunch of them. They've gifted them to North Korea, all that. Well, it blew up just 2 days after Zelensky said Putin would perish very soon, and he said, that is a fact. Just short of rubbing his hands together and going, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, after he laughs, then he goes like this, and the people pulling the strings, pull the little string on his back to make him do it again. But as far as that goes, it would not be crazy. Right after that is when this gold and platinum and silver purchase happened too. Right after that is when all of this happened. So we don't think it was based on just the event, because the next day we covered that with a few other independent, channels that covered that first. We had so many comments on that video that I did in my car at 1 a.m. I was coming back from a road trip from my aunt and uncle's, and everybody was like, oh, what's your source, bro? Just trust me. I'm like, no, there's actual sources, but most of them were Hindustan and India and this and that. So there was at least 2 reputable ones. I made sure to check that there were at least a few reputable ones. And I made sure in that video to let you guys know, this could be anything. They say there was nobody in the car. They say there's no reported casualties. And as Ilea, my mod, pointed out, that means there's no reported casualties, right? They're technically not lying. If they don't report it, then there's no reported casualties. But with that being said, if he did get taken out, or if Putin got taken out, or somebody really big, or one of his family members, shoot, it could be one of his kids at a nightclub, that would be a giant deal. But if Putin got taken out, would they just tell everybody right away? No. This is Russia, Chernobyl, Russia. They would hide this as long as they need to make sure that they can, try to figure out what they're doing next, figure out what the response is, figure out who is responsible. You cut the head off of that snake, there's more heads that are going to grow right in its place. Putin is liked by many. The numbers vary from 60 to 80% approval rating. And like, we're talking about real people like that, really, really love him. It's a different culture over there. They say that he is a strong supporter of Mother Russia. Like, they're very proud. So with that being said, if he is perished, we could very well be going right into a war. It would explain all of the war stuff that is going on right now. And I mean, it's just out of nowhere. Everything we've said is now just clicking into place. So hopefully that is not the case. It very well could have been an empty car. It could have been done by, a 3-letter or 6-letter agency to make it look like Zelensky took it out. Because, I mean, literally, after we did that, 12 hours later, all of the mainstream, in the morning, all of the mainstream were covering it. And they were saying fears of an assassination attempt, they were all saying the same thing. Was he there? We don't know. Then they report that it's nothing. I don't think it's nothing. I think something's going on. Right after that, the gold, platinum, and silver, like, that's pretty freaky if you ask me. So yeah, something's going on. And then no public speeches by Putin yet. So we'll see. Russia warns against U.S. strike on Iran nuclear sites. Says that it would be catastrophic. Pretty strong words. Dex, do you want to talk about Russia's basically standing up for Iran?
Yeah, so they issued a stern warning against the potential of a U.S. military strike on Iran's nuclear infrastructure. This is the first time they're speaking out on it. Everybody was sort of saying, hey, they were kind of tight-lipped on what's going on with Iran over the last few days. Maybe because Putin's been tight-lipped because he's hiding. But they're labeling the consequences, as you said, catastrophic, coming from, again, the Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Rabakov. This was, again, coming from that interview. He said the consequences of this, especially if the nuclear infrastructure is hit, could be catastrophic for the entire region. Threats are really hard, and ultimatums are also heard. So I guess the threats were really heard, not hard. But we consider such methods inappropriate. We condemn them. And this is all in response to, the fact that we've moved the B-2s there to Diego Garcia. Trump has threatened to actually take them out against and go after the nuclear facilities. So, the escalation that is happening, and it didn't just happen because we just happened to put 7, a third of our entire fleet of B-2 bombers there in Diego Garcia. I mean, that's a lot when you think about it. And that island, if you don't know, I think we've said it before, but if you're new here, it's an island that's like literally right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's just sitting there. You can't even see it unless you zoom in. It's very small, but it is the staging ground. And we've used it numerous times when we're staging things into the Middle East, because you just go straight up the waters, straight up into Iran. We have a big military base there. For ship refueling and plane refueling and plane locations, like putting B-2s there. So it's obvious when you do that, there's a reason, and that reason is Iran.
Yeah, so rumors of Iran doing preemptive strikes on our nuclear B-2 bombers, which a third of them over in that Diego Garcia island. You have, of course, Russia saying, if you do this, this is going to be catastrophic. You have, of course, China doing these massive drills. You have the U.S. and the president saying, we're not going to, rule out taking force, taking Greenland. Greenland now comments from officials basically looks like they are kind of admitting that this is more for protection against China, that there's a focus to the Greenland thing. So this is par for the course. Thank you, Frank Walls. Never underestimate the enemy. Prep food, water, and ammo. Yep. Food, water, medicine, and protection. And then Frank Walls, appreciate your support. Stephen McMahon, thank you. Trusted Source, thank you for being a member for 21 months. John Engel, thank you for subscribing. Trusted Source, thank you for becoming a member. Flannel Manigan, thank you for subscribing. Stephen Brown, thank you for subscribing. Karen Hill, thank you for subscribing. And Missouri Boat Ride, thank you for subscribing. Lots of new folks over the last day. So thank you guys, and I appreciate for you giving us a chance. All right. And then never underestimate your enemy. What is I've been saying that for years about China, Sun Tzu. Yeah. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of the Arctic, as you're talking about Greenland, I just heard this from Conquest Josh in chat. Apparently, some folks that are in northern Michigan have been nailed with a massive ice storm so bad that it has leveled trees, taken down trees, obviously, which takes down all the power lines, but making roads impassable. It's so bad there. They've been without power and water for 102 hours now in some of the parts of northern Michigan. So I know weather isn't always a topic around here, but I didn't realize they were getting hit that hard there.
Hey, everybody say thank you to Neil Nelson, gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Neil. And I really do appreciate that. Thank you for popping in. I don't think there's been a week where you haven't popped in. So thank you and said hello. Nat Tate, thank you. China tried to get into Greenland already with 3 company contracts, I think. They kicked them out. Yeah, the Panama deal with that, them basically stopping that and putting a halt to that. There's shady wrote all over this binder. So right now, buckle up, because I think it's going to get pretty spicy. I'm saying, G, nice to see you. Let love win. Love the name. Linda Hope, thank you for the updates, Marfoogle family. Hey, appreciate that. And thank you. All right. And again, if you don't have medicine as part of that, food, water, medicine, and protection, go over to Jace. This is a really great service you can do from the comfort of your couch. You can end up getting a kit with all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics in it. That way, if you don't have access to a hospital, which we take for granted, or you don't have access to pharmacies, there's no power or something goes on, or somebody raids them. Again, there's a lot of situations that aren't end of the world or even World War III related where these might come in handy. You could have a very big disaster like in North Carolina, or, of course, any of the other states that were forgot about by, 4-letter agencies. But if you do end up having something like this, again, you can actually have a kit, not only with those antibiotics, but you can also ask, you're talking to a board-certified doctor via your phone or tablet, and you can say, hey, you've got an add-on list. Can I grab one of these albuterol inhalers? And it's a doctor. He can say, yeah, and they'll throw it in. There's a whole add-on list, including the stuff that Joe Rogan took and CNN made fun of him for. There's all sorts of great stuff on that list. So go check it out, marfuglenews.com/Jace. Code MARF helps us out, and, of course, it will help you out with a discount. Amarillo Gunrunners getting Greenland, reclaiming the Panama Canal, and massing troops at the Mexico border all at the same time is not a coincidence. Exactly. Dex, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're talking about Joe Rogan, sorry. They launched a new product over there, too. It's called Parasites, and you guys should know what that means.
Yeah.
But it's an entire package of just that kind of stuff that you might be looking for.
Yeah.
So make sure to check it out by following that link.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Just Michael. Conquest Josh, again, if you guys haven't checked him out too, there's a lot of great creators in here, a lot of really creative, awesome people here. If for a long time, a lot of people said that they felt like the chat was clicky and stuff. I hope that you guys have morphed out of that and try to welcome new people. There's quite a few new people from yesterday's video, so make sure to just make people feel welcome. Much like most of you probably a couple years ago were welcomed in the same way. Amy Hawley, Rodney Ramsey, and so many more people. Thank you guys for stopping by. We did do a shorter video on this channel, not news, earlier today, so go check that out. It was 30 minutes long, which is a long short, but that was an extremely important one. It went over that gold, silver, and platinum buy, and it is no joke. It is also accompanied, if you actually go to our website, this is one of the first of hopefully many articles. So when you go to TV, you can actually go to TV, and you can go to urgent broadcast, massive movement happening now. This actually has one of our articles. So again, go and check it out. It has all of the tweets. It has all of the crazy stuff that's going on. The metal market folks, the people that follow this stuff on a daily basis, tweets like this. And these are people that follow and have, people in regulation that they speak to. These are people connected. Look at some of these. Look at some of these tweets. Let me see if I can find the one. Yeah. This is the reaction. Whoa, 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 whoa. This can't be right. This can't possibly be correct. Could it? No way. This has to be a misprint by the CME. Has to be. Right? Right? That is because of the absolute crazy, most insane number of contracts. 45,000 on March 28th. Those are interested parties in buying gold and essentially doing a promise of paying what it will be, right? That's a promise to get gold. What the hell is about to happen? Not to mention gold, silver, and platinum. Not only is that's like the last resort to save and to protect your assets. This happens right before something massive goes down. This happens when the banksters essentially get, a heads up. Not to mention over 1,000 tons in gold have been hoarded by the central banks since 2024. In just over a year, 1,000 tons of gold. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and buckle up. Well, somebody said, get fine art out of Taiwan now. Yeah. Oh, and another huge story, and who knows where this will actually go. Dex, did you hear about the Argentinian president and what he says or what he's supposedly declassifying? Did you catch this?
Which part? Just tell me.
The Argentinian president declassifying information about Adolf, that supposedly he did not perish, and he went to Argentina, lived for like 22 years, had 2 daughters after World War II, and perished in the 1960s. And
that's going to be insane.
The FBI and CIA knew about it, according to this stuff, right? I have no idea if they're going to say, oh, April Fools, right? But I think it came out yesterday, the day before. So that would be a crazy, April Fools. But I don't even know if they celebrate April Fools in Argentina. So yeah, that's another crazy one, right? Oh my gosh, insane. We are living in just an absolutely insane time. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And again, make sure to go check out the mods over at marfooglenews.com/friends. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/friends. Ilea and everybody else over there. By the way, we will be heading over to the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. But I will have to warn you, one of my main piece of gear is now broken. So it just finally crapped out. So I'm going to do what I can. And we might be putting a pause to the shoutro for a while. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you. Much love. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.